Welcome back, it's RacerX, and today I want to talk about my 1,000 horsepower Hellcat, guys. So I know I've been doing a lot more Scat Pack content lately. A lot of people have been asking me, hey man, where's the Hellcat been? I've still got it. Car runs fantastic. This is my mid 9-second monster sedan. Absolutely love this car. And I want to talk about kind of my 3-year review. What's the ownership experience been like after 3 years of owning this monster, kind of the evolution of everything that this car has kind of gone through. And then maybe kind of give you my take on, hey, if you're going to buy a Hellcat, and maybe here's some things to look out for, here's some things that I really like, and just give you my overall review after 3 years of ownership. Still love this thing. Can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you slap that subscribe button down there on the bottom. Here we go. We got the 1,000 horsepower Hellcat. As some of you may be aware, I started my YouTube journey back in October of 2018. So I really have only had my channel out for about 10 months or so now. And the channel has experienced some fairly nice growth. Obviously, this is the car that I built the channel around initially. But a lot of people don't know, I haven't always had the same setup on this car. Initially, I actually had just a 285 pulley on this car. And that allowed me to run regular pump gas in the car. I didn't want to void my warranty at the time. And I actually really liked that setup because I could still stick 93 in it. The car would run well. I would go to the track and I would actually run MS-104 race fuel at the track, switch the tunes over. And the car actually ran, I think, as fast as like a 1041. And actually in Houston, on that same setup with the race gas and the drag pack, the car actually went a 10.15. So almost got into the 9-second range, literally with just a 285 upper pulley and a couple of little supporting mods, obviously drive shaft and some stuff. But guys, then it got real because I switched over to the Bravo package, which I'll tell you. So for those of you that have been following my channel for a while, you probably have seen a lot of footage of this particular car racing folks like Demonology and Kevin Van Voris and some of the other YouTubers out there, and lots of other folks in exotic cars, lots of domestic cars, all sorts of different cars I have raced. I've been to the drag strip quite a few times in this car, and as the car sits right now, it is a very reliable setup on this car. It is literally over 1,000 crank horsepower. We're right at 900 to the wheel on a dyno jet, and the car is reliable. It runs on E85, which I can buy from the pump, and I absolutely love the setup of this car. And I literally don't have to change anything with its current setup to go to the track and race it. Obviously, I would put the bigger drag radials on the back to race it, but in terms of changing tunes or changing anything about the car, it sits in beast mode pretty much all the time, which is partly why I love this car. A lot of people will ask me, RacerX, why did you go with a Charger as opposed to a Challenger Hellcat? And I bought this car in 2016, just keep that in mind. Waited over a year to buy one, saved up my money. I knew ever since I saw one, I really wanted one. And I will be the first to tell you that I have not been disappointed whatsoever with this vehicle. It has exceeded my expectations in essentially every way. And for those of you that are on the fence about buying a Hellcat, whether it be a Charger or a Challenger, I highly recommend it. So if I really give you my objective opinion on some of the things that the Hellcat does not do well, or I wish maybe did a little bit better, I have to search pretty hard to figure out maybe some reasons that one wouldn't want this car, at least in my opinion. So really the big things are, one, I run E85, I have twin 450 fuel pumps in this car. It does not get good gas mileage. Didn't buy it for the gas mileage, but it doesn't get good gas mileage. If you're looking for something to take on super long trips, something that gets fantastic gas mileage, obviously the 1,000 horsepower sedan is probably not for you. The car simply doesn't get good gas mileage. It is what it is. But I really don't care. I enjoy the car for what it is. Like I said, it is roomy. A couple other quick things. The drive shaft that I have in this, I have an aftermarket DSS drive shaft. It does sing to me a little bit. It was before they actually had the dampened drive shafts in here. So it is a little bit noisy sometimes. The car is loud, which I actually like. Not everybody likes it, including my neighbors, because I do have a full tunnel ram system on this car, and not a lot to slow that exhaust in this thing down, so it is a monster. But you know, there really aren't that many things about this car that I can even nitpick to say I don't like. A lot of people will say, hey, look, you know, the Hellcat is just so damn heavy. And you know what? They're not necessarily wrong, but the car has so much power that it doesn't really matter, which could kind of bring me to my next point. The car has so much damn power that it just overpowers the back wheels, even in stock form, but especially how I have it now. It can overpower these tires at essentially any speed I want, including highway speeds, with drag radials on it. As impressive as that sounds, at 70 miles an hour, this particular car with Nitto NT555Rs on the back can absolutely rip the tires at 70 rolling down the highway without issue, which can be a little scary if you don't know what to expect or what the car's capable of. But you know what? That is part of the fun and the allure of owning a car like this. You know, some other people will talk a little bit about, obviously, the price of a Hellcat. It is not the cheapest car in the world. We know that. Not everybody can afford one. I saved my money for quite some time in order to put a down payment on this car, and I still have a fairly sizable monthly payment, if I'm being completely transparent. The car is worth every penny to me, and I wanted to kind of just put this out there, but I mean, when you really think about what you get 707 horsepower now in the Challenger, and of course the upcoming Charger version, you're going to get 717 horsepower for a price that was, I think this car was right around 70 grand, maybe a little bit more than that, which is not insignificant when it comes to money. However, think about that performance for the dollar. It's pretty impressive when you really think about I mean, how many cars out there even produce 700 horsepower? And to think not only is it under 100,000, but you can pick one up used for like half that. It's pretty impressive when you talk about power, and this thing has plenty of it. It has a lot. As with any car that's been modified, this car has kind of gone through its own set of growing pains. Some of you may be aware that, you know, when I went to Houston, I was actually looking to run this car. I had it in full tilt mode, meaning that I had the seats pulled out of it. I was running E85 Ignite. I had the car essentially set on kill. We had negative 1700 DA. And you know what? The car made so much power, it actually snapped an axle on the very first pass on the way out. You know, down in Houston, it was just a huge bummer that happened. So then I went with G-force axles. So now I've got 1500 horsepower axles in this car. I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, it's always gone through growing pains. I went through growing pains with the Tune when I originally ran a 285 pulley. That car, it was just inconsistent, you know, in terms of, I would put the fuel in it. Sometimes the car would go out and run 1080s, and sometimes the car would go out and run 1040s. And it was just kind of hard to say. The humidity played a factor. Ever since I've gone to E85, a lot of that has gone away. And of course, I run more boost now, between 19 and 20 pounds with the Bravo package, but I'm still running that stock blower, and that thing is very, very efficient, which is another fantastic reason that I love the Hellcat. And I do want to mention this, is there aren't a whole lot of cars out there where you can literally throw some fuel at it and some pulleys and reliably make over 1,000 horsepower and get your car easily into the 9s. But the Hellcat is a platform where you can easily do that. It is a proven, you know, it is a proven thing that these cars do this, and they do it well, and they do it reliably. So there just aren't very many cars out there that do what these things do. So, you know, it's just, I can't say enough good things about the Hellcat. Yes, they're heavy, they're big, and you know what? I love that they're heavy and that they're big, but when you drive one of these, for those of you that have driven it, you already know. For those of you who have never driven one, I highly suggest you get out and try it, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's talk a little bit about upkeep on one of these. What does it actually cost to run a Hellcat like this? Well, truth be told, you're going to go through some tires. I don't even bother to run a street tire on this Hellcat because it does make so much torque and it makes it so fast. Street tires are essentially, they're worthless. However, Drag radials seem to work really well. I've actually considered running my normal track drag radials, my ET Street Rs, all the time because of the way this thing makes power, just to kind of keep it safe. But guys, you will go through tires in a car like this. It's the way it is, whether you choose to do big smoky burnouts or you literally just drive it around. Car makes a ton of power, guys. It's heavy. It's going to burn up some tires. Just be prepared to buy tires for it every so often. It all depends on your driving habits, but I mean, you're certainly not going to get the same wear out of a pair of, or a set of tires on a car like this that you would out of a Toyota Camry. You just have to sort of expect that. It's a different kind of animal. We already talked about the fuel situation. I've had to replace the spark plugs in my car twice now, just because, you know, the car runs more power. So there's a lot of little upkeep type things that I've had to do to make sure the car stays running well. I mean, we're talking about a car that makes a ton of power, guys. So you have to be willing to kind of assess the condition of all the parts in the car and make sure that the thing is healthy and happy all the time. So what's it actually like to drive something like this whenever you want? I think the best analogy is really, if you're an adrenaline junkie or you like roller coasters, it's kind of like owning your own roller coaster in terms of rush and acceleration that you can have all the time. That's the only way I can sum it up for people who have not driven one or who have never owned something like this. It literally is like having a roller coaster at the tip of your fingers where you can just accelerate. It sits you back in the seat and it produces a grin that is just contagious. It just absolutely never gets old driving a car like this. Matter of fact, I kind of want to show you what it's like. We'll do a little 0 to question mark blast. We'll say 3 digits, but I want to show you exactly what this thing does. Absolutely makes you smile every single time you do it. That whine that the thing makes is just absolutely ridiculous, you guys. It is just something that, well, it's like a fountain of youth in a car form. I don't know what else to say about it, guys. It is so much fun. So a review wouldn't really be complete unless I gave you a couple of little clips of this thing in action over the course of the last, say, year and a half. I want to show you a couple of those, so enjoy.
It's absolutely mind-boggling.
So here's a quick little look for those of you that are not familiar with what my engine bay actually looks like. You can see I've got a lot of red and carbon fiber going on under here. A lot of this stuff has been done by JLT, so I've got some custom work, but I absolutely love the interior, the underhood portion of my car as well. But guys, I just want to take a second and kind of summarize my thoughts on this Hellcat. Quite literally, it is one of my favorite cars that I've ever owned. I've owned a lot of different sports cars. I won't go through and name them all, but I've owned a lot, and this is probably one of my favorites. It's also one of the fastest I've ever owned. But the really neat part about it is that it does everything well, meaning that I can put 5 people in it, take everybody to the movie theater. I can drive it in rain if I wanted to, and I can do it all in absolute comfort, meaning that I can still go to the pump and fill it with gas. I can still have heated and cooled seats in this thing. I've got enough room to put 3 sets of golf clubs in the back of it and additional luggage. I mean, there's just nothing the thing won't do. So guys, if you are looking, now that's the sedan version. A lot of good things to say about the Hellcat Challenger as well, so I do want to qualify that. But after 3 years, guys, a little over 3 years of owning this car, I still absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. It does not get old driving it. As a matter of fact, it's been about 3 weeks since I've even driven the car, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not having driven it a little bit more when I had the opportunity. But guys, I mean, if you're on the fence about buying one of these, I would just like to encourage you to go drive one, and you will see what all the hype is really about with these. And hey, that's about it, guys. If you have comments or questions, please make sure you hit the comment section down below. I really appreciate you tuning in. Till next time, RacerX.